Welcome back to the Building Wealth from Scratch podcast. We are your hosts, Bianca and Jerry. And today we are going to give some updates on what's been going on with work, life, personal updates in general.
The following is for informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Please consult a professional before making any financial decisions. For your reference, our full disclaimer will be displayed at the end of the episode.
This past week was Easter. I took a break from pretty much everything. I had my spring break and I realized that I needed a break, which was really hard for me to do because I feel the constant need to always work, whether it's doing school stuff or personal stuff or just business stuff where I have to at least get something done. So this week I did pretty much nothing. I did do some things here and there, but not as much as I usually do week by week. And so I do feel a lot more refreshed this week. We did go to a Padres game. It was against the Giants, and it was a good time. I got a free belt bag. If you don't go to the baseball games, because I did it before, there's certain games where they do giveaways, and this game was pretty much like they did it's kind of like a Lululemon belt bag, but it's for the Padres. So it was a gift that I was looking forward to. Usually they give like bobbleheads, like different like hats or different type of gear, but I was looking forward to this one. So, and it was our first game back. So we've been season member tickets for 2 years. I actually wanted to be like honest about this because I think one of the biggest things that we had to work on for our relationship and for myself is that when you're sharing expenses with a significant other, you have to honor what lights them up. So, yeah, so I think for me, like when you are in a marriage, you have to really honor each other's interests because what you might like and what you may find valuable may not be valuable to your spouse. And what might feel very valuable to your spouse may not feel as valuable to you. And so I think this is a perfect example of this. Like, we've been now season ticket holders for 2 years. And honestly, like, I can probably live without this expense with both of us, right? But I think it's something that brings joy to Jerry, and I see how much he loves watching sports and specifically baseball and football. And so I had to like really just let go of just like having more understanding that there's things that are important to him that might not be as important to me, but I have to honor those decisions, just like when I do things that probably necessarily don't make sense to Jerry. And so I think that's been something that we've both have been working towards, just honoring those choices. Because one of the biggest things I think I noticed when we got married was that clothing is like not a big thing for for Jerry. Like he could wear the same shirt for the next 10 years and he doesn't care. And so it's me who's like,
This is not ripped, it's still good.
yeah, it's me being like, it's time for us to go clothing shopping versus for me before we got married, I would buy more frequently, a lot more clothes. I think now I try to do every 2 months, every quarter, look at what's missing in my wardrobe so it feels fresh. Anyways, all that to say that I took a break, so that's why there was no podcast episode last week. And even that, I was like, oh my God, we didn't record. I'm still working on being like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world if I'm not consistent one week. And so, yeah, so I think that was a long winded answer of like what we've been up to.
You brought up the Padres and you didn't really mention it, but also your new Pilates studio.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so I would say what is different? What's something small now that we're doing that you're like, wow, we've come a long way from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think we both used to feel bad for wanting things and spending money on things that wasn't beneficial to both of us. And so, for example, like now that I have my new Pilates membership, like that's entirely for me. Now that I go do my nails every month, like that's entirely for me. Like when we go out for dinner, you and I are having fun, but when it's these like the studio, going to the Pilates studio, it's like it's one, it's a very expensive membership. And then two, it's not something that we do together. So I think it's been really allowing myself to spend money on myself. In the logical sense, it's like, yeah, like you're spending money on yourself, but like actually doing it, it's a very different feeling, especially when for the longest time we were so restrictive with our spending that we were like, no, we can't. Right now we're on a mission to pay off debt. We're on a mission to grow our wealth. And so that I think we just went all or nothing mentality where we went so extreme that we literally did not do much.
And even then, you're still feeling that, right?
Yeah.
Because you still feel bad. You
Yeah.
still don't really accept that you want to do these things. It still comes with a grain of salt when you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, like definitely.
But I think it's you just slowly letting go of that it's okay. And you just got to keep reminding yourself because, yeah, it's like, and I asked you that question because that's part of it. It's remembering where you were and how far you've come. Even though you're not to where you want to be, you still made progress. And that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't look back and, reflect on what they've done already. They just like, nope, I want to do this and that's all I'm going to fixate on. But you miss a lot of the small steps to get there by doing that.
The thing with the baseball thing too, like the season tickets, like you were on a waiting list. And it was like it was very gradual. So I think for me, it gave me time to actually reflect on.
And you still didn't like it
No.
because I started paying to get on the waiting list.
Yeah.
So so I know you still didn't like it, but I was like, this is gonna be fun. This is cool. This is what I've always
Sorry, that last part.
yeah, I was like, this is still cool. This is what I've always wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then I experienced it, and then I was like, "Oh."
Right. And now you fell in love with it.
Yeah, and I was like, "This is actually pretty cool. This is different." Especially because I didn't grow up with baseball. I grew up with soccer, but even then, like, soccer, I don't really have, like, a big attachment to it. I just don't, and so I think I was like, "Sports, eh." So it's been definitely a journey of learning that this is something that is important to you, and so with going to the baseball games, it gave me a whole different experience, actually experiencing it in live versus just watching it through a TV. It's two very different things, and so because of pretty much for the past 2 years, I've been learning baseball, that now I understand it when we're watching it on the TV. I can share those moments with you. I was even thinking about this when we went out to eat at the Spanish restaurant here, and it's called Costa Brava in PB in Pacific Beach.
If you can go, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, so it's a really good restaurant, and so right next door, they have this little Spanish shop, and they have all imported stuff from Spain. And I remember one of the few things that we did in our early years of marriage where we didn't have a whole lot of money left over, but what we did was we got a wine membership. And I also felt guilty for that. But thankfully, because of that membership, like I think we're so like well read when it comes to wine. I know what to order, like, at a restaurant. I know what those type of wines mean. It's not something as intimidating as before where I was like, "I don't know, red wine or white
Mhm.
wine." Like, now we understand
Yeah.
where they come from and all of these different things, and so I think it's really reframing of, like, a lot of these expenses as investments in yourself. Like they're not investments like in the stock market, but they're investments of like knowledge and experience. The reason why I think like this is because our parents didn't have that luxury to experience these type of things. Like those things are a luxury. I should save my money. Let's just get the essentials. And so I think that's another reason why it's hard to do these things. As much as we don't think about it, like your childhood does affect, like the way you grew up with money does affect how you see it nowadays. That's what brings us to today's topic about why we're making more money than our parents ever did, but somehow it doesn't feel like we're further along. And Jerry, how often are you seeing this come up?
I would say it's pretty much every family, every millennial. Because for the most part, we've done everything that we've been told to do. You know, you go to school, you get a good job, you do all the right things, and then life is gonna just work out for you. But what we're realizing now in 2026 is that that's not the case. You know, you actually have to hustle a lot more now. And even if you make six figures, that's still not enough to even buy a house. And so I think it's happening way more often than not.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was like the thing I think growing up. Once you make six figures, you've made it. You're good. And that's not the case in 2026.
No, I mean, if everything stayed the same, if inflation didn't exist, if the government stopped printing so much money, then yeah, maybe that was true, but that hasn't been our reality in the last 26 years.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's definitely been challenging to continue to balance life in terms of necessary expenses that need to get paid and also balancing all these other big goals that you have. We talked about it last episode, but just how some people they're like, "Oh my gosh, like we want to grow our family, but can we financially afford it?" Right? And those are important questions. I think probably 10 years ago, I would have been like, "Yeah, that's the smart like, that sounds smart to do." But now I'm like now with the experience that we've had and the life experiences, it's like life is gonna happen. You'll figure it out.
Just to add on to that, I think one thing that you're trying to say is that you have to prioritize it. You have to value it,
Mhm.
especially in today. So you have to start prioritizing what really matters to you. So like us going out to the Padres, going to Pilates for Bianca, like that's what she prioritizes. So that's what we're gonna do. So it's the same thing. Now we're gonna start prioritizing having a family. And that's what a lot of couples are trying to do now too. You're never going to be fully prepared. And then now with the way things are going, it's only making it even harder. So now you have to forcefully prioritize, no, I want to have a family because it's what I want. And you're going to make it happen as long as you value that.
Yeah, and I think exactly that's what I've realized. If it's something that you really want, like, you're gonna figure it out a way to prioritize it and to make it happen. And so I think that's the biggest lesson that both of us have learned because time really does fly by. Like, it doesn't feel that long ago that we got married and we were in college. Even though it's now been a couple of years, closer to a decade, like, it doesn't feel like that. So, I think it's very important to continuously reflect on what is important, what is the number one goal as a family, and that way you can adapt and make decisions going forward. But it can be very challenging when there's a whole aspects of things going on in your life. And I think that's one thing that we've both reflected on, like being the first gen millennial, is that not only are you thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about your future kids or your kids, and you're also thinking about your parents. What's going to happen to them, and how is it that you're going to step up to take care of them? So I think those are like reoccurring themes that we see happening, especially with ourselves and also with our clients.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that we're trying to think ahead, right? We're just like worried about, oh, I got to do this within this timeline. It just doesn't work that way. You just have to prioritize what you want to prioritize, and then you're going to figure it out from there. Because you're never going to be fully ready for anything. And and with this economy and with the way the dollar is devaluing year over year, it's making it much harder for us to do more and more things. So we have to really start we're getting crushed when it comes to doing our the goals that we have. So we have to really start being strategic and prioritizing the ones that matter the most.
Can you share an example of a client or couple who have felt like this?
Yeah, I would say there's one family that comes to mind that they have children, they have grandchildren now, and they also have aging parents. And it's the usual. They're making more money than ever before. They did everything they thought they were supposed to do right, but yet they still don't know how to prioritize what they really value the most. And then they feel so stretched because they're the ones that are being counted on for everything when things go sideways, because life is going to happen whether we like it or not. And so it's never giving them the opportunity to really prioritize themselves. And so when they started working with us, that was the first thing I did. I'm like, no, you have to start prioritizing yourself. You have to start building an ideal foundation for yourself, because guess what? Life is going to always happen. And if everyone's counting on you, it's going to affect everybody in your circle, not just you. And so it has more weight and more pressure, right? Because we're like, oh, we have to do this. We're the oldest, we're the most responsible, we're all these things, all these titles that we give ourselves. And so it just puts more pressure on us, and it's just, and for me to be able to help them and really relieve that pressure, that's what I like, because it's, I can really see it in their face. No, it's building a strategy, building a plan, so that you can still help your family, but you're also helping and prioritizing yourself at the same time.
I think that's very important what you just said about you need to take care of yourself. And that sound can sound like very selfish and but no, because if something happens to you, then everybody is going to feel it and everybody is going to be affected. And I think that's where it's like, oh, okay, so this is very selfless for me to take care of everything that I have going on because I need to be the strongest person in the family so that everything's okay. And I know that's a lot of responsibility, but I think rephrasing it that way is really helpful because we are naturally very like selfless people. Like we want to help out family, we want to be there in every aspect. And so sometimes it's like we lose ourselves. We're just worried about like, how can I better
Everybody,
yeah. And so I think that's been the biggest thing that I think you have helped me with, but also I think exactly that. Like you're also because we have gone through it, you've been able to help our clients through that. Even like you see the signs right away because we've been through it and nothing speaks louder than just having that experience firsthand.
no, and it's not because they put that on themselves. Like they feel that way because that's what society, their families, and everything has pointed towards. It's just because I was the one, like you were the one translating all the legal documents for your parents. Like you were always the one they depended on for things. And it slowly morphs into other things, and it slowly becomes a financial dependency as well. I think that's why a lot of first gen feel like that, because it's, even if it's not just translating, it's, oh, I'm short this month. Can you help me pay my rent? Something like that. And it just slowly keeps evolving, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time, and less of a priority for yourself. And that's why I'm like, you don't have to stop doing that. That's why my solutions and my strategy is we don't just stop doing that. We still continue helping the people we want to help, but we have to start prioritizing ourselves a little bit more.
Mhm.
And that's going to look different for everybody. Just depends on how much you make, where you are in your life, how much assets you have, but it's still not out of the ordinary or extreme or impossible to do. You can still do it. You just need to have a plan and a strategy, and really, at the end of the day, guidance to help you get there.
Yeah, I think it's because it will feel uncomfortable. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah,
It will
absolutely. Because you're going against the grain. You are doing the opposite of what you have been psychologically accustomed to.
yeah.
And that's why I don't recommend you just quit cold turkey and you just stop doing those things. You can't. You have to continue, but you have to minimize it little by little.
It's definitely one of the biggest lessons.
It's hard saying no.
It's very hard saying no. It's one of the things that I've had to reframe, that prioritizing myself is not selfish. It's a very selfless act because in order for myself to show up 100% for others, I need to feel 100% so that I can show up for others in that same manner. So I think this is very real experience that we feel and experience as millennials, as first gen, and you're the first one figuring everything out. And I'm just gonna say it's exhausting. It's exhausting to figure everything out all the time. Like, I think it shows that we are very capable and we're very resilient to push through no matter what. But it's also, I think that's why I think a lot of our clients really find it like, I don't have to figure this out for myself anymore. Cause that's how I felt. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so relieving. Like, I don't have to figure this out or think about it. Like, it's just, we have a plan, we have a strategy, and now we can move forward. And now I have more time to think about what the other things on top of mind. Because naturally, I think when you are first gen, you are ambitious. And so you have that sense of what should I be working on next? And so I think that's been the transformation work that has happened within our lives, and I think also our clients' lives.
So what would you say somebody listening that says, "Hey, that's exactly us." What would you say to them or what should they do next?
I think they should reflect on what their goals are, and if our story resonates really strongly with them, then I think having a one-on-one meeting with you would really clarify things of what they should work on or where they are in their financial journey. But I would also encourage someone that really would like some financial guidance. When clients book that introductory meeting, it's not about, yes, let's bring you on. It's about, let's understand your situation and let's see if you really are ready for that next financial step. And so I think that's the benefit of booking that introductory meeting. But overall, I think that would be my biggest advice.
Well, that concludes today's episode. I hope today's topic and our stories have helped put things in alignment for you. If you want to learn a little bit more about us and our story and our services, please feel free to reach out or go to our website at www.confianzawealth.com. And we look forward to connecting with you again next week.
Bye.
Confianza Wealth Management is a registered investment advisor in the state of California. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where Confianza Wealth Management and its representatives are properly registered or exempt from registration. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute individualized advice or a guarantee that you will achieve a desired result. You should consult with an appropriate tax and or financial advisor for advice specific to your situation. All expressions of opinion reflect the judgment of the host/interviewee on the date of the program and are subject to change. Presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. Discussion should not be construed as an offer to buy or sell or a solicitation of an offer to buy or sell the investments mentioned. A professional advisor should be consulted before implementing any of the strategies discussed. Investments involve varying degrees of risk, and there can be no assurance that any specific investment or strategy will be suitable or profitable for a client's portfolio. All investment strategies can result in profit or loss.